Port Charles woke up on Monday with a familiar heaviness in the air, the kind that signals secrets tightening their grip and goodbyes looming just out of sight. December 29 delivered an emotionally layered episode of General Hospital, weaving together quiet confessions, protective lies, and a departure that left ripples across the canvas. At the heart of it all stood Willow, burdened by a promise she never asked to make, and Kevin Collins, preparing to leave behind both his office and his heart as he heads for Dublin. The episode opened with Willow at the Quartermain estate, staring out the window as winter light filtered through the glass. Her expression said everything, resolve battling guilt. Scout's words echoed in her mind, soft, fearful, and painfully honest. The little girl had trusted Willow with something deeply personal, something she wasn't ready to share with her father, Drew. And Willow, who has built her life around truth and moral clarity, now found herself standing on the shaky ground of secrecy. When Drew arrived, fresh from a morning run and eager to connect with his daughter, Willow's tension was immediate. Drew sensed it, of course. He always does, but misread the source. He assumed Willow was overwhelmed by the holidays, by the constant emotional juggling that comes with life in Port Charles. What he didn't know was that Willow was actively choosing silence. Scout soon joined them, unusually quiet, her eyes flicking toward Willow with a mixture of gratitude and fear. Drew attempted to draw her out, asking about school and holiday plans, but Scout deflected with short answers and a forced smile. Willow watched the exchange closely, every instinct screaming to protect the child, even if it meant betraying Drew's trust, at least for now. Later, alone in the kitchen, Drew gently pressed Willow. "You're holding something back," he said, not accusing, just concerned. Willow nearly cracked. Her voice wavered as she reassured him that everything was fine, that Scout was just going through a phase. Drew accepted the explanation, but the doubt lingered in his eyes as he kissed Willow's cheek and left for work. As the door closed behind him, Willow's composure collapsed. She whispered an apology to Drew, to Scout, and perhaps to herself. Across town, Kevin Collins was packing up files in his office at General Hospital, the familiar room now feeling strangely temporary. His decision to leave for Dublin had been made quietly, professionally framed as a conference and extended consultation, but emotionally it was far more complicated. Kevin's past has always had a way of pulling him across oceans, and this trip was no exception. Laura stopped by, immediately sensing the weight of the moment. Their conversation was tender, layered with years of shared trauma, healing, and love. Kevin explained that the work in Dublin could help him gain clarity, not just professionally, but personally. Laura listened, supportive but visibly shaken. Though she understood Kevin's need to go, the fear of distance, of what unresolved space can do, hung between them. "This isn't goodbye," Kevin promised, his voice steady but eyes betraying uncertainty. Laura smiled, brave as ever, but once he turned away, the cracks showed. She has lost too many people to take departures lightly, even temporary ones. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Alexis crossed paths with Kevin and sensed something was off. When he revealed his plans, Alexis was surprised but understanding. She reminded him that sometimes leaving is the only way to truly return whole. Kevin thanked her, though the advice seemed to land heavier than expected. Back at the Quartermain estate, Scout sought Willow out again, this time in tears. The secret she was carrying, still unnamed but clearly profound, was beginning to overwhelm her. Willow knelt in front of her, assuring her that she wasn't alone, that they would figure out the right time and the right way to tell Drew. The moment was intimate, raw, and achingly sincere. It was also the moment Willow crossed the invisible line from confidant to co-conspirator. The danger of that choice wasn't lost on Willow. She knew Drew values honesty above all else, especially when it comes to his daughter. Keeping this secret could fracture their relationship when the truth inevitably surfaced. Yet looking at Scout, Willow couldn't imagine betraying her trust. In Port Charles, secrets are currency, but this one felt sacred. Elsewhere, Laura confided in Curtis about Kevin's trip. Curtis, who knows a thing or two about complicated departures, encouraged her to stay grounded and keep communication open. Still, once alone, Laura allowed herself a quiet moment of fear. She stood in the mayor's office, gazing at a photo of her family, wondering how many times love can stretch before it starts to tear. As the episode drew to a close, Drew returned home to find Scout already in bed and Willow unusually distant. He sensed the shift, the unspoken truth hovering between them. "We're okay, right?" he asked softly. Willow nodded, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. The final scenes cut between Kevin boarding his flight, Laura watching the snow fall outside her window, Scout clutching her pillow with anxious resolve, and Willow lying awake beside Drew, staring into the darkness. Each moment echoed the same theme, the cost of love when paired with silence. Monday's episode didn't explode with scandal or shock, but it didn't need to. Instead, it delivered something far more powerful, the slow burn of emotional consequence. Willow's choice to protect Scout may come from the purest place, but in Port Charles, even the kindest secrets have a way of detonating. And as Kevin's plane lifted off toward Dublin, one thing became clear: absence, like truth, has a way of changing everything.